or, it is not fixed in that way so much. And there'll be different times when you'll be attracted to doing different practices. And that's fine. You'll have the opportunity over time to develop all of them. Although we want to have a regular time for doing these things, you don't want to be too rigid to say, okay, now I've got to stop this one and start this one. If you have a fixed amount of time, you may just want to sit, and do Tonglen. Or you just may want to do mantra recitation that particular day. But that's fine. Is that how you thought I was going to answer the question? You're right. So we don't want to have a whole lot of judgment about it. We don't want to have a whole lot of rigidity around it. It's still like that lute. You don't want it too tight. You don't want it too loose. So developing your practice, again, is a very individual matter, and it may change from day to day. The main thing is to maintain your practice. We haven't talked about Ngondro yet. Ngondro, we talked about the 4 ordinary foundation practices, but we haven't talked about the extraordinary practices of Ngondro. Once one is secured their Shinei practice and have done these practices that we've been talking about, there is a next stage of practice that is called Ngondro, the 4 extraordinary practices of refuge, of purification with Vajrasattva. There's development and accumulation of merit through mandala, and there is Guru Yoga. These are the 4 practices, and they are done repetitively 111,111 times, these repetitions, each of them, over, it can take some people years to do this, but the next thing that one would look at would be this Ngondro practice. Anyone heard of Ngondro before? Anyone doing Ngondro? Okay. Ngondro is considered to be a foundation practice. By foundation, it means just like when you're building a house, if you don't have a firm foundation, you'll have a very wobbly, weird kind of house. But these foundation practices help with the devotion through refuge, through doing prostrations repeatedly, and recitation of the mantra, 111,111 times. Vajrasattva purification, 100-syllable mantra, 111,111 times. The mandala practice, offering the world and everything that's in it to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas for accumulation of merit, 111,111 times. And the recitation of doing the Guru Yoga visualization and mantras that go with linking the mind of the Guru, which is a very powerful practice, 111,111 times. So if you want to know more about that when you're ready, and then you would see your Lama for the initiation and Lung reading transmission that goes with that to practice. That is something that one does under the supervision of their teacher. But it is a foundation of practice that as soon as you've reached some stability of shamatha and these practices that we've been talking about, the next stage then is Ngondro as a foundation practice. And I'd be happy to talk to you more individually about Ngondro if you'd like to know more about it. And when you go back home to your different sanghas or to your KTCs, you can. There will probably be people who are well versed in Ngondro. Or before you leave, I can give you my email and a way to contact me, and I'd be happy to keep in touch with you about how we can best do that together. So, those are all possibilities. So these are, again, all part of the map. And, reading books, if you're away from teachers, you're as close as, what the teachers have to say. So, for instance, Dharma Paths. A lot of what we're talking about today is in a text by Khenpo Karthar Rinpoche called Dharma Paths, which is a text that I like very much, and it's available here. So Rinpoche is teaching in this book about the different things, about Shinei, about the yanas, about all the things that we're talking about, Tonglen. So that's another tool for you to refer to. And there are many teachers within our lineage. I mean, you can look at the bookstore and see the myriad texts and authors that go with that. But certain texts may be better at certain times. And the KTCs have lists of the books, as they, as you progress along the path. But Dharma Paths is very good. And if you, again, have any question about those things, we can talk about that further. But there's when we talk about hearing, contemplating, and practicing, the hearing and contemplating can come from those texts. So, and then if you have questions in your practice, then you can go to the Lama for help. But there's many wonderful texts by Khenpo Karthar Rinpoche, by Bhadartuka Rinpoche, and the other lineage masters, Trungpa Rinpoche, Tralag Rinpoche. These are all teachers, Mingyur Rinpoche, who have been here in the past and continue to come here on a regular basis. And if you have the opportunity to hear them, always take it. To hear these teachers, they are such wonderful gifts to us, and their expertise and knowledge is so exquisite. My light is like a firefly compared to the sun. These guys are just really masters in our lineage. So I encourage you to to come to these teachings, and the KTD is a place where you can find these lineage masters. And now that you have a little introduction, you can come to some other things and get even deeper understanding from these teachers. But the Dharma reading is important, and the teachers, of course, have written these books for your help and for your study. So there's a huge list of books on shamatha, on vipassana, on mahamudra, on all of these different topics. So, you should keep a text, continue your study through reading. So what questions do you have about Buddhism that we haven't covered? Understanding compassion and loving kindness and bodhicitta. What do you want to hear more about? The Bodhisattva path, Tong Lin, this mind training. Emptiness, oh boy. Well, I would refer you to some of the texts. With all due respect, that is certainly a deep subject, and rather than confuse you with my limited understanding, that is really a very important part of the second turning of the wheel of Dharma that the Buddha taught, and emptiness of self and emptiness of other. But again, what we did say is that this is not the nihilistic approach, that it's nothingness. Out of the emptiness, all things are possible, fortunately, because that's what allows us to become Buddhas. Fortunately, we can change. And the negative habitual patterns that we have are really empty as well. They have no real essential permanent quality. That's why we can let go of them and become Buddhas. But understanding this natural mind, this mind of emptiness, really needs to be done through direct experience. So we can talk about it. It's like my talking to you about what an orange tastes like. But until you taste the orange, it's going to be very difficult to really have a conversation about emptiness. We can talk around it, we can do that, but I think it'd be probably more confusing. What I would suggest is that we dedicate ourselves to meditation and have a direct experience about the nature of the mind. And we'd probably be better off than me trying to confuse you with my definitions.
This has always bothered me.
Oh boy.
So if the inherent nature of all beings or everything is empty of, I don't know, whatever. So if its inherent nature is emptiness, and yet we believe in reincarnation and transmission of information. So there is no Aaron, right? then what?
Aaron is in a constant state of change. There's no solid Aaron. Aaron is a mind stream that is constantly changing until you reach the highest state of enlightenment, Buddhahood.
What's transmitted? If there's not a concept of soul in Buddhism,
Mind stream. You have a mind stream that continues
What's
to
that?
develop. It's your awareness. It's mind. It's your awareness. It's your consciousness.
and that is
It's not fixed.
no.
No, that's the absolutism. That's the opposite of nihilism. That there's this fixed soul that is everlasting, unchanging. That's not so. In the Buddha taught that what there is a mind stream that's in a constant state of flux and change, mutating all the time. So this good karma goes in a particular direction, this bad karma goes in a certain direction.
And so not
these are
existing anymore
imprints.
doesn't matter.
This imprints on your mind stream. So there's no punishment from God. There's no punishment, from wrongdoing. This is part of a seed, a karmic seed in your mind stream that will ripen along the way. So it's not like nothing exists. This particular mind stream is, again, a continuum. And it's influenced by action. So it's not fixed. So usually when we think of soul, we think of a fixed thing. Buddha said this: it's impermanent. Everything is impermanent. But fortunately, we do have this mind stream that can be influenced through the practice of this path, and we can let go of these habitual patterns that have also been fixed in our mind stream, but are not real and permanent and just adventitious. They can come and go. So we can let go of these. They're empty. These negative things are also empty. So as we do our meditation, as we experience the nature of the mind, which is our Buddha nature, as we rest in that, as we continue to understand this mind stream, purify the negativities, and promote the virtuous activity, we approach Buddhahood until there's a point that there is no trace of this solid self that we've identified so strongly with. It's this self, this attachment to self, that creates the problem.
And yet still something has to be transmitted. And I understand what you're saying. I guess I just have a hard time with this. I have a hard time with the idea of emptiness, I guess.
What's transmitted is whatever it is that helps to liberate your mind. Pointing out instruction, so you see the nature of your mind. And sometimes it's called pointing out instruction, and it's that thing, that glimmer that awakens you to the point of understanding the nature of your mind that changes kind of, I don't know how clear that is, but hopefully that brought a little bit of light to the subject. But there's two things of the absolute and the nihilistic idea, So Buddha taught that the middle way, in the sense of not attaching ourselves to this nihilistic attitude of nothingness or this absolute quality of a fixed permanent self. Okay? Okay. It's a tricky business.
I guess this thought started with bringing up the concept of emptiness. And immediately,
I was afraid of that.
Immediately, my reaction is, I can't get my mind around it yet, right? With the yet. And then I remember reading something by Alexandra David Neal, and her going to Tibet in, I guess, the late 20s, and being one of the first Westerners that some of these teachings were exposed to. And it kind of made me feel like, is my form of Buddhism as a Westerner diluted, right? Is it, we come to the monastery in Woodstock, New York, and, we sit on comfortable cushions, and then we go about our normal lives, and that's not how it's always been done, right? So is there, what do people in Tibet think of our trying to continue this lineage here in the North American continent, and what What is you as a Westerner who's someone who has made this lifelong commitment? You know, what is your take on all that?
You really want to know?
Yeah, I do.
They think we're lazy.
Yeah. What do we do to overcome that? Because
You practice.
I needed to hear that.
You got it. These people are so committed, you know, you see them going around doing their prostrations for miles, you know, over rocks. They're prostrating, old women. I mean, they can hardly walk, but they're prostrating, you know, for miles. That's some serious dedication. When they do their pilgrimage, they have such devotion, and their prayer wheels are going, their malas are going constantly. That's their life. They see us wasting our time. So we have to make a decision. What's important? It's your decision. No one can make it for you. Does that answer your question?
Very specific.
So I didn't feel like I answered that thing about the spiritual friend, you know, when you're looking for a guru, because it is so important. So I found a little reading by Khenpo Karthar Rinpoche that I'd like to share with you. Are we all back now? Yes? So he's talking about the spiritual friend. You know, how does one meet such a person? This can happen in two ways, he says. One is ripening of previous good connections, a previous history of having worked and studies with the help of such spiritual friend. In this case, because of continuous ripening of wholesome karma, a good relationship that once has started in the past, in some former lifetime, for example, is able to continue, and so it is a matter of making a reconnection. This is actually the best way, and the experience is very special in that. When you meet such a spiritual friend, there is a sense of coming home. It is like a good friend whom one has not seen in a long time. And when you see that friend again, there's a sort of mutual recognition, a good, relaxed, feeling free of uncertainty or hesitation. As for the guidance of that spiritual friend and in the inspiration that one can receive from such a spiritual friend, one does not have any question. There is genuine, effortless confidence. But such a meeting is rare, because one who meets a spiritual friend in this way must be very fortunate and have a good history of connection, a good history of cultivation of what is wholesome and virtuous as far as mental development is concerned. So this is a karmic connection from the past, you know, but people have that recognition. It happens all the time. You know, they